some sketchy shit. Doo-dah, doo-dah, hope I get away with it. Oh, the doo-dah day.
Well, I hope it didn't freeze for anybody else like it just did for me, but I'm Dan Hollifield. Welcome to Last Man Standing. And before I do anything else, I am going to post this comment. Grant has got his Cryptid Adventures comic fully funded, and it's been less than, 6 days, 5 days? Proud of y'all. I'm very proud of y'all, and I helped. All right. I don't know if anybody had seen Stupid O'Clock and carried on over for our viewers. Those of us that were there know that was a really good show. Our usual eclectic mix of stuff. And with me tonight, I've got Mike Jimmy, but he's away from the screen right now, putting Aurora to bed. We got Aunt Donna, we got Chris, we got Nick, we got Richie, and we got Thesis. Full house.
Jesus.
Oh my guys.
How you doing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The one
How
thing I
you
don't like.
doing,
No.
No.
Oh, and Thesis, I did go back to the beginning of your show tonight to make sure that I was subscribed.
All right, thank you.
Because I knew I put a like on as soon as I woke up and I go, oh, I missed it, and went in. I was going to watch it, as a repeat right then, but my man, you went over by 30 minutes.
Yeah, I kind of got a little bit of trouble for that, but I was having fun. So.
Enthusiastic.
An enthusiastic walk. Oh no. Anyway.
Oh, thanks, Don.
So let me make sure I got this right, Thesis. You do it every other Saturday?
Yes.
So not next Saturday, but the one afterwards will be your next show.
Yes, March 2nd. Yep.
March 2nd. Okay.
Yeah.
Just want to make sure I got the time frame right in my mind so I know to be looking for it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And if I am not away doing something, I will do my best to catch it, or at least catch the replay. But I did subscribe the other day when I was
All right.
watching. Never mind the furthermore. I believe it was Wednesday. Might have been Monday. One of the days I just subscribed.
Yeah, one of those days.
But I
Yeah, I remember.
try to avoid
subscribing.
YouTube to an extent because it's like going down the rabbit hole.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
I could understand that.
I lose track of time and I find myself really running behind and needing to catch up on stuff that I should have done in the first place.
All
If
right.
I'd only avoided the rabbit hole.
Did you see the comment that we just got, Dan?
Yes, that is
Mhm.
why I facepalmed. As Aphelion's publisher, I will address this.
Yeah.
Andrew,
Cap, do you need a link?
Cap, I got to tell you, you don't walk up to a writer and say, "Hey, I've got an idea for a book." You write it. No, if you've got an idea for a book, you write it.
We will help.
We can't afford to get sued, so we don't even want to know what your idea is because, people have been known to come up 50 years later and say, "Hey, I told you that idea at a convention, and now you wrote it. I need a cut of the profits." And we're going, "What? Who are you?"
Or it didn't happen.
Hey, the easiest thing to do is sit yourself in a chair in front of your computer, write out your idea, and then keep writing until you've got the entire story.
In fact, I took a page from your book, Dan.
Yeah.
I had another person tell me that they want a sequel to The Seduction of Lily Monroe, and I'm like, he's been seduced. What more what more do you want? So then this person started telling me, oh, you could do this and this and this
No,
with
check your
the
messenger.
girls. And I'm like, that sounds like a good idea. You write it up.
Mhm.
So it's like what you
That's
did with
Andrew.
I'm sorry, but and I even had Joe Dog came up to me wanting to write a story from his idea, and I'm going, Joe Dog, I have my own work, my own stories. Here we go, Cap.
Hey, Cap.
What up, y'all? And yes, I'm finally getting my voice back.
Good.
Dan,
You do sound much better. Yes.
you know the reason why Joe Dog presented you with that idea? Because Joe Dog's command of the English language leaves a lot to be desired.
That is
There are
not
a
a
few things
handicap.
that will make you better understand the English language than trying to write a book. You want
but
to
Joe
learn
don't have
math,
patience.
write a game. You want to learn the English language better. Write a book. Google exists, guys. It's so much easier.
And there are such things as editors.
Yeah,
His command of the English language is shakier than a canoe full of epileptics.
And I have read Stephen R. Donaldson, so not having a command of the English language is not a handicap, obviously.
Yeah, well, Joe's lazy on top of that, so.
Wow. I think
when it comes to writing, you don't like to
Can
write.
we get an order of aloe and cold water shipped immediately to Joe Dog McKeel? Because I think he needs some burn care, and there's no way around it.
Yeah.
No. My major objection was I've got so many of my own things I need to write. I've got half a dozen that are unfinished right now. Plus, I've got 10,000 years of history for my imaginary planet that at least 300 stories in there. Not all of them have to be books, but
Not to mention
And-
he's an ancient god of Appalachia.
hey, I've only got so many years left. This shit's got to get out of my head, or they're not going to be able to bury me. I'll be walking around with I'll be walking around with the iPad typing forever.
Plus his obligations to his paid site, Only Dance.
Well, here's my reasoning. One, what you said about, the copyrights and everything, I would even sign whatever to say, I have this idea, I just don't know how to make context out of it.
Nick
All right.
has a favorite saying.
And then because of my personal situation with the Asperger's, I live on a disability waiver, so I can't claim royalties to anything. I would put all that at jeopardy and at risk. So I have that as a fallback to say I can't make any money on anything.
Let me try something with you, Andrew.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to tell you a great secret. Actually, I'll tell you two. First off, the first book anybody writes kind of sucks. It's just the truth.
Yeah.
I know because I have one book that I wrote. It's well long enough for publication. And it should never see the light of day unless, I can pull an editorial exorcism on it. And it's, at this point, it would take, candles and, prayer beads from assorted countries. But
Ouija
just write down the best understanding you have of it. And just literally, I'm going to tell you, Haints and Hellfire, this book right here, was almost entirely written on my phone waiting for things. I'm stone serious. I downloaded the Docs app, and I dropped the book on the floor, which I'm not supposed to do because that's Mandy's copy. And when I was I'm at the doctor's office, ticka. I'm stuck, waiting for a car to get the oil change, ticka. You don't have to set it formal. It doesn't have to be good. Just write your first thing, and once you've gone from the beginning to the end to have enough of it to give you a framework, even if it's just a sentence that says, I want a story about blah, blah, blah.
Mm-hmm.
You know that because that's what you want to ask of people. And then tinker with it. What genre is it? What?
It's kind of a mix of genres: military, romance, science fiction, future setting.
Okay, that you hit one of the magic words. I was looking for sci-fi or fantasy. You hit sci-fi. Now, see, what I would recommend is you write that story. If you're not planning to make money off of it, you just want to get that story out or have it made. Write it to the best of your ability. Go back through and chew on it, because I understand how Asperger's works. Mm-hmm. Once it's out there, you'll start nitpicking it. And if you let yourself nitpick it, especially if you can get a good hyperfixation going and probably enough caffeine to fuel it, you can crank out a great story. And see, then
someone
my daily allotment of caffeine or weekly allotment.
So my point being, write it out, get it, and when you can get it as good as it needs to be, you don't look for a ghostwriter. You look for an editor who specializes in sci-fi. Now, I happen to have heard of a fella. Now, there's this site out there that's been around a little while. Not a lot of people know about it. But if you make a story, even if it's just a short story, because you never know how long an idea will go, trust me.
Or even flash fiction.
Right, or even flash fiction. And
which is less than 1,000 words, yeah.
You put it out there and you go to, what was that site? I know the guy. I mean, he's right on the tip of my tongue.
I think it's been out there, 5, 10, 27 years.
Yeah. You know the guy. The one with the...
Are you talking about Aphelion?
This is your life.
Yeah.
I don't know. That dude,
Yeah, that dude.
This
This
dude,
sounds
yeah.
funny.
white beard,
Hey,
glasses,
dude.
headset.
Yeah.
I read the Aphelion
That guy
site.
with that voice.
The one.
Yeah, that voice.
I mean,
this-
okay, you guys have planted an idea in my head. I'll try to write a synopsis of it.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
basically,
this is where I make Nick twitch. But this is one of the ethical uses of generative AI. If you have any questions about the writing process, you can go to Gemini by Google now or ChatGPT or whatever. Ask that question, and then you can keep re-asking that question and re-verifying that question and clarifying things until it can point you in the right direction. And it can also point you to sources that you can look at. Now, Nick's going to be like, use a librarian. Librarians aren't always at arm's length like they are for you, my brother. And sometimes they're hard to get to. And hard to get to within, library hours. Now,
And the
In
important
which one they
thing,
sell their soul to the
Mhm.
techno demons running about, being programmed to steal the intellect of others, and then run merrily at the behest of billionaires in access to replace every creative out there so that they can use it as a propaganda tool. Sure. I mean, let's gladly and gleefully sell your soul off to these things for minor convenience. That is fine and dandy. However, I will always respect somebody who draws a stick figure more than I will respect somebody who spends hours, prompting.
but again, this isn't doing AI art. This isn't even asking the AI to write it for you. This is asking it questions and getting answers.
It's
Yeah.
research.
The other problem you have to be careful of is AI lies to give you an answer consistently. It will make up quotes. It will cabbage together things. It can't tell the difference between fiction and fact. It only sees it all as input. So,
yeah, LLMs, that I can say, LLMs are
Mhm.
indiscriminate against fiction and factual.
hey Andrew, the
Oh.
important thing to remember is you can't edit a blank page.
thank you.
Oh yeah, that I know. I'm just,
Mhm.
I've got
Don't
a lot going
worry
on.
about-
I got a lot going on right now, and I'm just literally asking, who can I reach out to?
Well, the thing
you
is,
reached out
do
to
what you can.
That would be me.
Do what you
Yeah,
can.
I'll send you the synopsis, and you tell me what you think about it. If that works.
I can do that. I can do
Yeah.
that. But
Or
you
if
know.
everybody else, whoever
Oh,
wants to see it,
you.
I will send it to you.
Reaching out for help is one thing. We're willing to help you, but you do need to write it yourself.
Yeah.
Let me throw in my little confession here. Nick said your first story always sucked. I would never, ever publish my first story. For one thing, it's got a lot of plagiarism in it because I was beginning.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But in doing what I did, I learned how to structure the story.
Yeah.
And went from there.
And I don't know who originally said it, but there's no such thing as good writing. It's good rewriting.
Yes, I have heard that, and I don't know who said it either, but they were a very wise person.
Hmm.
Um,
Well, my favorite writer's quote is, oh, darn it, got her name on. I hate writing, but love having written.
Yeah.
I've heard that one too. And another one from a writer who actually had a writing podcast, and the writer, her name is Mer Lafferty. I can't remember the name of her writing podcast because this was like back in the day when I was first finding the narrative hooks on Aphelion. At Aphelion Webzine, Aphelion-Webzine or Aphelion Webzine?
Dash.
Aphelion-Webzine, or Webzine.com. I will learn how to speak her eventually. It's not like I do it for a living. But anyways, Mer Lafferty says, you're allowed to suck. You're everything that you try the first time is going to be meh at best usually. We improve over time, and the more that we fiddle with things. I mean, for instance, tonight I am 3D printing things. I am priming and getting ready to paint some of the miniatures I'm printing out for Dungeons and Dragons and stuff like that. These are going to look freaking horrible. But you got to start somewhere, and you got to start building up.
Rich, when I saw that dragon, automatically thought of the cover art for the first Asia album. And I started putting songs in my head.
This is Charizard from Pokemon.
Well,
The other
I
one
like Dragon
did
Amazing.
not. The other one did not survive. Oh, Charizard is a dragon type Pokemon,
Okay, cool.
No,
and
he's
then of
not.
course we've got my boy Gengar. Okay, technically he's a fire type Pokemon, but he's dragon
He's
shaped.
literally.
I'm
he's
glad to
literally
see
the
you're
dragon,
having fun
but
with
he's
that.
not a dragon type. It is a
And Squirtle.
Yes, I'm glad you're having fun with that 3D printer. You deserve it. After
No,
all
I'm
you've been through here
having fun with this
past
3D
few
printer because otherwise we would have thrown a lot of money out the door.
Now, I don't usually do this until after the show ends, but for Cap, I'm going to play the 30-second advert for Aphelion. Hello, I'm Dan Hollifield. I'm the senior editor and publisher of Aphelion Webzine, the world's oldest free creative writing e-zine since 1997. Since then, we have helped over 500 amateur writers learn what they needed to turn pro. www.aphelion-webzine.com and read not only what we've got going on right now, but 28 years worth of our archives of stories. Thank you very much. Like I said, I usually wait until show's over before I play any
I'll pull
ad
that
for
up.
me. But yep, new issues come out 11 times a year on the first Sunday of every month. We don't do a January issue. We do a big double-sized one in December so that the staff gets to spend holidays with their family. Usually what we do is we'll do it like a greatest hits. Everybody, all the different editors will pick out what they thought were their favorite stories. And we'll have a fresh batch for December plus a batch of their favorites for everybody to come back to and read during January after they've well, some people read the entire thing in one day. They read very quickly, but it's been known to happen. I have been the default short story editor for a couple of years now, and our cover artist has just retired. And I've been having to do the cover art this year.
You can always ask me too, right?
Hey, Mike, you got enough stuff on your plate right now.
No, I don't. Actually, I'm jobless right now. I got all the time in the world.
I'm trying to let you finish up Life on Chorus so I can write the soundtrack.
Fair.
I have my priorities. The evil mind is working. Besides, I'm having fun doing the cover art now that I've gotten far enough ahead with the programs that I use to do it. So it's basically just a astronomy photograph with um, credits for um, outstanding writers for each section. You know, short stories, long fiction, flash fiction, and poetry.
Hmm.
So it's simple enough to do. The graphics, excuse me. Grandma's rheumatism medicine is just about turned into cough medicine here.
Hmm.
Um, Essentially, it's just astronomy photos with some words splashed on top of it.
Ah, okay.
Guys, it has been a long day for me. I believe I'm going to call it a night. It was great seeing each of y'all.
Great
I
seeing
hope
you, bud.
y'all have a great Sunday.
Really glad to see
Good
you
night,
around,
Chris.
Chris. Take
Yep.
care.
Have a good night,
Y'all
Chris.
take care.
Rest
Sleep
well, brother.
well.
Hopefully, I'll get to see you on Saturday.
Yep. If so, great. If not, I totally understand. So, be at peace, brother.
Yeah, I got to wake up that morning and see how the feels are.
Yep.
Yeah.
I totally understand. So, take care of yourself. Everybody else, have a great night, a great Sunday. I will see y'all next time. Bye.
And I put that link in the live chat for Cap, but it hasn't transferred over to here. So maybe I don't have a wrench on my own show. Um,
Here, it should.
yeah, it should. Let's see. I can do it this way though, if the damn thing will let me. Um,
Oh, we can always drop it in private chat too.
well, yeah. Didn't even have to look up how to spell anything. Haha. There you go.
Yeah, I already put it up on. I've got it up in a tab on my screen.
I know, but there will be people watching this later with the chat going, and maybe it'll help them too. Um, I've been at this for quite a while, and we actually win awards every year for it. Um, it- when you visit an issue of Aphelion and you read my editorial, the Reader's Choice Awards from creditors and editors show up right at the top of the screen, and usually it's 6 or 8 of them. And that's been kind of falling off since the pandemic, but still, I mean, it's the people that read stuff on all kinds of magazines online and books in print and online, and artwork and everything else they've got the category for. Um, they vote on this stuff, and enough of them think that we're worthwhile, so we get a little badge, and I'm quite proud of that.
You
Um,
should be.
well, we put in a lot of work. I mean, seriously, uh, and all of it's for free for the love. I mean, we don't charge the writers anything to submit a story. We don't charge the readers anything to read. Uh, and I am quite adamant that as long as I can draw breath, we will not have advertisements. This is not to make me money. This is to get the writers a place where they can learn enough to be able to sell their own work. And both the happiest and saddest emails I can ever get is one that says, "Hey, I just sold my first story." And I go, "Wonderful. I'm so proud. Go get them." And my next thought is, You're never going to send me another story in your life because I don't pay you. That's all right. Um, we've had pro writers send us stuff going, hey, uh, my publisher doesn't want me to try and sell this because I've got this brand in another genre, and I don't usually write science fiction or fantasy because I do uh, mysteries or historical fiction or whatever. And they go, can you do something with that? And I go, fuck yes. Uh, whip it on me, Jim. Um, oh, I do believe we have a couple of Velvet Underground fans in the audience there. Um,
Some of us have been around a bit.
mm. But yeah, I'm quite proud. Our own Joe Bachman sent me a story a couple of weeks ago. It's an excellent story. He has a few things to learn about um, structure and punctuation, especially inside a dialogue quote.
Ah.
It's not a difficult thing to learn. It's not something that he has really paid attention to before while he was reading. Because, you read, it flows. You're not looking at the punctuation analytically as a reader. You know when it works, you know when it doesn't work, but you might not have the slightest idea why it doesn't work. And this is something that uh, writers have to learn. Now, the biggest thing that I preach about is when you submit to any of the paying markets, whatever, read their submission guidelines and follow them religiously. Otherwise, your submission's going to get thrown in the round file automatically. If they go, I want
They
it.
can go even worse. If
Mm-hmm.
you don't look at their guidelines, they might throw you in the literally cannot read the rules pile and will never listen to you again.
Or they will talk about you to other publishers.
Ooh, oh yeah,
Hey,
don't even get me started there.
editors and publishers do meet up at conventions, and
Mm-hmm.
some of them do gossip. It's like,
You
oh
mean
God, have you got
people
this guy?
convene at conventions?
Huh?
People convene at conventions? It's just shocking.
I know,
Mm-hmm.
I know. Um, they had me on one panel at a LibertyCon one time, and I'm sitting there amongst people who get paid for writing, people who get paid for editing, people who get paid for publishing, and these are all big names. And they're all sitting there going through their spiel about what they do and everything else. And the moderator goes, "Well, um, Dan hasn't said very much. I'd really like to hear what he's got to say about this." And I looked at we were in a theater setting, so there are like 300 people sitting there. I'm looking out into the darkness. I go, "Okay, I run Aphelion Webzine. Uh, how many of y'all have read something in Aphelion or submitted something to Aphelion?" 2/3 of the audience raised their hands.
It's free. People go.
I looked over at the pros and I go, I'm the guy that when you see in their writing credits that they had something in Aphelion, they've read the rule book and they're following your guidelines, and whether or not you like the story or not, it's going to be correctly done. And they have practiced. And they look at me like, what rock did you crawl out from under, and how do we find it?
There's a link. It's right there in the chat.
Really, but this was a live chat. I think somebody did record it. I wish I had a copy of the recording. Even if it wasn't on video, the audio itself would be priceless. Another good thing I would recommend, if there are any conventions near you within a comfortable traveling range, by whatever means you've got handy, go, mingle, network, talk to people, meet people, go up and say hello to your favorite writer. You don't have to ask them for an autograph. I mean, it's nice if you've got something they've written and I had people, the first convention I was on an autograph table. I had people come up to me with a convention program book because they hadn't bought anything of mine, but they wanted my autograph. I'm sitting there next to a world famous artist. At the next table is Larry Niven and Jerry Purnell. Their autograph lines went out the door, around the block, twice. And me and Jenny are just sitting there going, it'd be great if we had something to sign here. And people would come up and they had her copies of her stuff. And I'm going, well, I've only got the couple of things out and nobody even knows who I am. I don't know why they gave me an autograph table. And people would come up because they had seen me in the in some of the writing panels or that big thing in the theater, and they go, hey, I like the way you talk, can I get your autograph? Of course, my wife walked up with my checkbook and says, I want some jewelry, sign this. When you cannot get up and leave the autograph table to go look and see what your wife is asking you to sign a blank check for, there's a level of paranoia there that most people do not even experience in their lifetimes. Thankfully, my wife is the one in a million treasure. So it was a beautiful piece of jewelry. It was not exorbitantly expensive. I could well afford it. And she kept saying, well, you can take it out of my checking account. And I'm going, honey, I ain't touching your money. That's your money. I am only too happy to buy you a piece of jewelry that you enjoy. Seriously, life is too short. Make the most of it while you can. Do all the things.
And here's the thing about publishing, right? Nobody cares about you until you've done the thing. So, get the thing out. Limit yourself on what it is. And if it's just going to be for you, and that's fine, make sure that that is your limit. It's going to be for you. And if something needs to be published for you, make it a day in the life of a character you have. Start writing.
Ooh.
Get on creating. Don't care about the quality yet. Quality comes later. Like, quality comes the moment that, to be like Monty Python, to get the first artist came the first critic.
Mm-hmm.
Don't care about the first critic. Like, you are going to be your own worst critic.
Oh, always.
Get your writing done.
Always.
Get out there. And other than that,
well, maybe that one guy in third grade that you're really pissed off might be your worst critic. He's still harboring a grudge because you got the juice box that he wanted just before he got to it.
Yeah,
I'm still
well, we
gunning
don't-
for you, man. That apple juice
Oh,
is mine.
here we go. Here we go. That's what he did with the story he submitted to Aphelion. He's trying to make it into a long story, got stuck, and decided to submit it as a short
Honestly,
story.
start
And
small.
it works. It works wonderfully well. And like I said, there wasn't a single typo I had to correct as far as spelling goes. It was only punctuation and attribution of dialogue. So Joe went through it and started new paragraphs with the same character talking, which confused me as a reader because I didn't know who was talking. So I went back in and I deleted the paragraph indent, ran the paragraphs together, and voila, everything fit, everything worked, and Joe's got cover credit for his story that's going to come out in 2 weeks.
But here's
I
the
am
thing.
so proud. I am so proud of Joe. I really am.
If Joe hadn't written the story, it wouldn't have been there.
Dan,
Yeah.
I messengered
I saw
you.
it. I saw it.
Okay.
I haven't had time to get to it yet because we're
No,
live.
I'm just saying, if you didn't see the thing or whatever, it's there.
Oh,
Let me know what you think.
It tells me whenever I get a message. Believe me, my computer nags me worse than my last 3 wives combined.
Oh, God. If anybody else wants to see it, I will send it to.
Not right now. If you need a brainstorm session, however, I'm usually open.
And here's Mr. Bachman himself.
Hey.
Howdy.
I wondered where that ping came from.
Yeah, I decided to focus on finishing out that burn. And I think I'm really going to like this new burner, the way it handles heat control.
Oh, good.
Because that didn't turn out too bad.
That's amazing.
Oh, that is glorious.
Nice.
Good Lord. I mean, I can see colors in there, and I haven't been near the brown acid in decades.
It's still in your spine, though. Just waiting like Cheech and Chong for another reboot.
Hey, speaking of Cheech and Chong, do you see that thing they put out now?
That they're doing gummies, or
the alcohol bottle. The alcohol bottle that once you finish it, it becomes a bong.
Oh yeah, I've seen that around.
Now
I saw that today. I was like, "What?"
Hey, recycling is important.
There you go.
my problem with it is this, and before I want to caveat this, I have never done anything. I haven't smoked a cigarette. I haven't done anything. No booze, no drugs, no nothing.
Well, booze, I lightly consume.
No judgment. Because the next sentence will confuse some people. The stoners I know are some of the most talented engineers I've ever met, because they can turn literally any object into a bomb. I've seen potatoes. I've seen cans transformed. I've seen
Bottle of Tylenol.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
Oh, you can turn a loaf of bread into a bomb if you know how to do it.
If it's a good stout enough loaf, absolutely. It's just
It's mostly a noisemaker rather than a destructive power, but if you need a flashbang,
wait,
and you got a loaf of bread.
No. I think there was a.
Bong. Excuse me.
Well, I didn't realize you got full MacGyver ATF. He is joking. For the purpose of all YouTube algorithm, that was a mishearing joke. Don't worry about it. This was planned shtick ahead of time. But
Breathe, Donna.
Don't ever stick really, really good firecrackers into both ends of a Twinkie. I'm just throwing that out there.
Don't.
Yeah, just don't do
I
it.
don't even want to know why anybody would even conceive sticking firecrackers in both ends of a Twinkie.
For
Uh,
total destruction.
For
You
science.
want it, and it
my
doesn't do
excuse,
killed
my
me.
excuse was
The answer is
I
my
was
message
reading
board.
Cap's synopsis of his story, and it is a war story. So
But do you see where I'm
bong.
tying in science fiction, futuristic,
Yeah,
military, and romance all in one thing?
yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
and that is its own genre. I mean,
Yeah.
it's a recognized genre already.
Oh.
Do you remember that drawing I posted in Green Room of the monorail?
Yeah,
I drew that. The date's actually down there in the bottom corner of that drawing. That's the hypersonic monorail you're looking at in that synopsis.
yeah.
Yeah, and there's these things that I have just been going on and on and on in the back of my head for ages on end. But real life just typically gets in the way where things happen or something goes on that I have to divert everything that I'm doing away from all of my back channel thoughts to all of my shit hit the fan right here in my face thoughts.
And see,
Welcome to our world.
that's why I'm so just hammering on get the app on your phone because it's with you wherever you go, and you don't have to worry. You're thumb typing, so they're going to be typos. By being comfortable.
Well, I mean,
I'm saying
Yeah.
you could do it that way too. But
Yeah.
if you put it in a format where that's why I like Google Docs, because when I'm here, I can try to use my big keyboard. When I'm abroad, I can use my phone. If I have my tablet, I can use that. But see, from what I know of you, I've only had a couple encounters. This is too good a concept to not be respected enough to say the concept deserves me seeing it when it's fully matured. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I have enough faith in you as both in your character and as a character that the writing and the depth of it is going to be very, very good. But you deserve to have me see it at its best the first time, and it deserves to get all the treatment you can throw at it. Now, I'm going to tell you something. This is my little tiny anthology of short fiction. Okay? This is 7 short stories to chill your bones. Sorry, it's almost like I plug this all the time. It was supposed to be 8. And it was supposed to be 8 because I was talking to Joe's wife. And we were mentioning an old, I want to say, Patrick Swayze movie called Next of Kin.
Oh,
I saw that. That was a good movie.
Yeah. And, you know, I'm sitting there and I'm listening to this. And I was just going, oh, yeah, Old Gods is supposed to start. You know, the new season of Old Gods is starting. And my brain went, wait a second. Can I combine those? And it went weird places, and it's really not anywhere near there. But it was supposed to be about 200 words, you know, maybe a few hundred words in here. And I started writing it, and it held up the book till I said, fine, I'm taking you out and putting you over. You think about what you've done so I could finish this book. And it turned into this monstrosity.
Yeah.
So
I'll start tinkering with it. Dan's got the synopsis now, and I'm looking at his expression. He's definitely liking it.
Oh yeah, yeah. There's a couple of places you need to clarify it.
Oh yeah.
I mean just in the synopsis. And then
I tried to keep it short so I didn't bombard you with something.
Oh no, that's not a problem.
4 pages long.
600 words a minute I can read. Who was it that sent me something? Oh, my publisher sent me stuff to preview and review when it came out, and I sent him a back cover blurb for it the next day.
Mm-hmm.
He goes, I thought it'd take you a week to wade through that. And I go, I just turned off YouTube and read.
Something I need to do is turn
Hey,
off the.
apparently
the
that's a
games and
superpower nowadays.
There you go. That's the trick. Where is your time?
Yeah.
And it goes down
my
to
time is scattered across a whole bunch of different things right now.
All
One
right.
of them I can't ignore.
Well, yeah, and then you don't ignore that. But do you have, a lot of people, I don't, because I hear this all the time. They DM me before the show. Nick, I want to write a book, but I don't have the time. That's why I winced, and I kind of got this twitch, like right here, when I saw your thing. It wasn't you. It's that I get hit with those about 3 to 5 times a week. And it's like, it's usually people I respect, and it's I want to make a game, or I want to write, this should be a comic. It's like, good for you. Or the book.
I always wanted to blank. Good for you. Nobody cares.
Sounds good. If you need help, I will advise you. Do it. Well, I can't draw. There's this thing called YouTube. And I will shockingly tell you that art, like most other things, is a skill that can be learned and developed. I love my buddy Glenn B.
Tell that to my left hand.
Oh, you are so lucky this isn't the green room. You are
There's
so lucky this is.
There's only one skill it has developed and became a master of since the age of 13, and we'll leave it at that.
And
No
Nick,
book goes unfinished.
the same thought went through everybody's head.
Yeah.
Pretty much, yeah.
I'm going to go down the hall. Nobody's in charge while I'm gone because I'm the only one with the ops here. So.
Woohoo! Anarchy. Okay.
Y'all just try not to break the playground equipment, okay?
No promises.
My parks board doesn't have the money to replace it. We barely have money to get our own.
All right, everybody starts smashing shit. Let's go.
We need a smash room. Let's all go rent a smash room like really fast.
There.
Well, we were on the bong topic. I know somebody that turned one of these into a bong.
That doesn't. Wow, there's $200 the hard way.
Well,
yeah.
It had baffles that were struck out of it, so it was useless at that point.
Don't you hate when a muffler gets blown out? There we go.
Well, think of another word for muffler.
Oh, I know exactly. That's a very nice airsoft that you are demonstrating right now for the YouTube algorithm.
We got to be careful, or people are going to try to start suppressing stuff.
Trust me, I get suppressed enough as I can't quite get this. It's like it's not to work upside down.
Yeah,
figure that out.
It's very funny. The actual name of that object. Suppressing us. Something's already suppressed.
I'm gonna.
Yes, that was the pun.
There we go. That's nice.
Nick,
You're still upside down.
Nick, you need to do that for the opening of NTF.
On the right day, when
I'm
it's
all
least
for it.
expected, and I'm in one of those moods. We all didn't realize that the Hawaiian shirt is part of what contains me. The radiant light of it, reminds me not to let loose my dark energies upon the earth like the foul being that I am. But
your only dark energy is your Nick field around electronics.
yes,
Oh,
and
don't get me started on that when I yank out my electronic skills. Oh God.
No, this man has killed more people than most militaries around the world, or killed more electronics than most militaries around the world.
I am a walking random.
Exactly. I have killed multi-$1,000 circuit setups just by applying the wrong amperage because I used the wrong diode and rectifier.
He's killed them by looking at them.
Shows up. I
So
think too hard in their presence.
Okay, so you know
So
the
he,
idea.
he's like a walking EMP, like that one Chips
Literally.
episode where that robot was running around and everything just started blowing up.
Yeah. So so it's the opposite of what like Rich and I have with the IT field. We walk into the room and everything starts working again magically. Nick
Because it
walks
hears
into
us.
the room and it's blue screen, blue screen. Why is that smoking? Blue screen, blue screen. I love you, Nick.
Why'd
But
that
we all know
breaker
it's
just
true.
pop?
Why the hell is this on fire? There's nothing electronic in it.
No, that
My
was me.
mother-in-law is the exact same way.
Yeah.
I want to see what
I have
happens.
been both sides of that fence. I have walked in a room. I run a computer store before I folded into my disability. I used to run a flea market repair booth, and people would bring me their shit. What's it doing, ma'am? It's not doing what you're saying it's doing. I swear to you, it does it. I guarantee you, I take this home, it's going to do it again. I have had my customers send me videos. I told you it would do it as soon as I take it home. You have this aura that the computer knows you're the one sitting there using it and not me.
Mm-hmm.
But then I have also done things when I got my electromechanical bachelor's a few years ago. I do low voltage circuit, autonomous circuit design, like access control and stuff like that. I have done things inadvertently that as soon as power is applied,
No, at one point I was going to buy Nick one of those like static mats that you hook yourself up to when you're supposed to be working on the side of a computer.
earth ground.
I was going to get him one of those to just put under his feet and still run a cord.
Yes.
You know, if I thought it was safe to just hook him up to the same ground as his NIPSCO power, I would.
I don't know. I think Nick just needs a lightning rod.
Well, that's an earth ground. Just earth ground his whole entire body to his whatever he's got hooked up. Just run a big old 4-gauge wire from a wrist strap to his main breaker's earth ground.
It's the horns.
Nick, we're going to add some adamantium to you so I can just stick a wire straight in.
I was thinking more of a copper core with a steel spike on the end of his walking stick. And
See, what I need is to turn my walking stick into a giant Zauberstab. I used to have this delightful book on German mysticism. And the Zauberstab is the German idea of a wand, which is hilarious. Because it's it's a foot-long club, basically, that's been hollowed out with a steel core and then has a silver wire because theoretically silver purifies stuff. So you can project the energy through. I mean, at least the German mystic systems have some idea of energy protection. It was great fun.
The Zauberstuff or Toverstuff in Dutch, it's literally magic wand translated. Yeah. That's it. Like there's nothing special about it.
I know.
Mike, I got to admit, I'm kind of jealous. I used to have that exact desk as a kid, and I miss that desk. Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's my wife's.
Yeah, it was given to me. It was given to me by my grandfather when I was 5.
Is this what you were talking about?
Of course, you would whip out a Zauberstuff.
Of course.
I miss that desk so much because I had that desk for onwards of 20 years, and then movers had an accident and it went sideways in the truck, and when we went to the door, it was in about 30 different pieces, and I was about to go to jail that day.
You know, I understand.
And by Dan holding up that wand, it just solidifies he is an old god.
Why do people think I'm being facetious? I'm very earnest about everything I do. Dan said he wanted the show to stay, don't break anything on while he left. The show is still standing mostly. We've done a pretty good job.
Now that he's back, we can break shit.
I did say we could flash rent a smash room.
Mm-hmm. Well, folks, I am going to actually take off this time because I need to get some sleep. I got to get up early and get other things done before work on Monday. Which
Thank you for being with us, Joe. I mean, seriously.
Joe.
Always a pleasure, man.
Work is mostly going to involve probably antagonizing Nick in the background, like usual, but
Well, that's Monday.
yeah. That's one of the great things about having ops for his show.
I know, and he's like, Nick, there's this deal where you can move over and I'll have ops for your show and Don will have ops for your show and a few other people. And then he's like, why are you going,
What could go wrong?
Dan's up there now, like, I don't have to give 2 F's about Mondays now.
Hey, there's only one other person besides me, you, and Dawn that would have ops. He's right next to you.
Now, do you see why I'm a little protective? It's not that I don't trust my friends. It's that I trust them to behave like my friends.
In the background, Nick just starts seeing this.
You don't know what that man does to me in the little matchbox icon thing while I'm trying to show sometimes. You have no clue what Joe does. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I give him the same innocent look.
Yeah, I think I'm going to take off too as well. I'm getting a little bit out of there, hazy in the head. If anybody
we've already gone an hour, so thank you for being here.
Yeah, if anybody else wants to read that synopsis, let me know. I'll send it to you. Dan, fire me your questions. You said you wanted to clarify a few things. Let me know what you want to know.
Okay.
And I may take you up on that after I'm done with like the next couple months of absolute insanity because I have a convention next week. So you actually saw it, Joe. Something's never happened before. Hey, you want another thing to do on your plate? And my hand didn't go up.
I'm proud of you.
Yeah, that.
Now let's see you take off that 20-pound weight that you have attached to your arm so it didn't just automatically float up.
You really want that Naruto scene where, hold on, I'll take the weights off.
Yeah.
No, I have a loop for the handle for my table that I just loop my hand through.
His hand, he Naruto's his hand up so fast he breaks the sound barrier.
I'm not kidding. My table has a little handle for carrying because this was supposed to be.
He's got to be careful because if that hand goes up fast enough, it hits Mach 2. He's going to shatter windows next to him.
Right.
I look like Mary Poppins flying around when that hand finally snaps loose. But
like a mentor shrimp. Yeah, keep like blinks light at some point.
Without the umbrella, just Mary Poppins floating through without anything. Just the kinetic force is just going to.
The only thing is it has to teleport just straight up because it cannot angle in any way, shape, or form. I have to do like that or something just for safety. I don't want any
locals know him as Sonic Arm now.
That could come in handy.
Oh, this is not the green room. On that note, folks,
no, but
have a good night.
About Sonic Booms.
Night,
Oh, good night, y'all.
Oh, dear. Good night.
Good night.
Man.
Yep.
It's good to see you around.
did good,
We don't share panels
good.
enough.
I got to see your show. You did good.
Yeah, it was. I'm slowly improving over time.
A lot of it's just relaxing into it, but I want.
Really.
That's really doing shit like this really helps.
Watch the progress that Willow has made on Cryptid Crunch.
Oh my gosh!
Used to her voice would be quivering, but now she's gotten more and more comfortable. She's still not fully comfortable with it, but she has made enormous progress. And hell, when I was in high school, people didn't even think I could talk. Except for the 2 or 3 that I would talk to.
Mm-hmm.
You'd
be surprised
beat
how
up
often
it doesn't take talking to be able to get an A on a test because you actually read the fucking book.
you'd be surprised how often confidence trumps competence, and how much confidence leads to competence.
The first part of that tempted me to make some very obvious political remarks. I am not going to, because it is not that kind of show.
That's
But
okay. I
dang
can read your mind like a magazine.
Uh-huh. You know, I do like to make sure I have the top card when I'm dealing with people who are dumb. But Thesis, you're doing good. Now, I will say, because Thesis asked about starting a Patreon.
Oh, yes.
I've been doing my show for a fairly long time. I've been broadcasting since, I don't know. But the Historical Fencing Guild started as part of the 2019-2020 when I moved, so I could keep in contact with my locals. And I had 6 patrons in all that time with all the stuff I do. So it takes a while.
Oh, yeah.
And it'll be a lot better.
I'm fully aware of that. There's one reaction channel that I watch fairly frequently that has one patron, and it's me.
Well, and that's the other thing. Did you know last time I checked, it was either 97 or 98% of YouTube channels have no more than 3 subscribers?
Yeah.
I'm stone serious. The problem is there's this horrible gulf before you hit the monetization level. And that's how YouTube wants it, because then they don't have to pay for content. You know?
Well, it's 2 ways. One, because people, a lot of people use YouTube to just watch videos.
That's true. That's true.
The amount of active content creators is not that big. It's still, a limited pool, and even then, of course, like the 0.1% is gonna get the millions of viewers. Obviously, that's just how the algorithm works. That is how YouTube makes their money. But if even 10% actively makes YouTube videos or does things, that's a lot.
Yeah.
Because most people don't have the time to make videos. They don't care. They just want to watch. They're here to relax.
Right. And it's great. I love what YouTube does for me, because of the YouTube videos and streaming, I know the vast majority of the people here. But yeah. And the idea that I can have a conversation with somebody literally on the other side of the world, either way on a lot of my streams, because I've usually got someone in Europe and I've got someone in South America, is just one of the coolest things of living in the future. And that's one perspective I try to keep, because I find myself at times thinking of 80s Nick, who watched, Star Trek, and, this new kind of more boring Star Trek, as my dad called it, But the Captain Picard's walking around doing things on some kind of bizarre pad device, and he sets it down, and he's talking. They're doing the video conversations just like the Doctor did, just like Blake 7 had these wonderful view screens where people like Dick Tracy on his watch phone, and we don't. Not enough people have in our current generation, our current timeline, watched enough sci-fi and read enough sci-fi and listened to enough sci-fi to realize and appreciate the raw awesomeness of what we're going through. I mean, we're literally we move from the industrial era to the information era, or the industrial age to the information age. This is so catastrophically cool. And we get caught up in the dramas and the political stuffs of the world, and the problems that it's made. But I remember when acid rain was a serious problem everywhere in America, and we beat that by getting together saying, okay, we're going to solve this problem. And that kind of gives me this passive a quiet optimism, you know, that it can get better if we just stop being dicks, you know.
Really?
I'm screwed.
Yeah, me too.
Well, it
You
means you're finally getting some, Rich. But I'm sorry. I'm sorry. You pulled snark, and I looked down, and the trick is to pull the trigger before your hand touches the gun. I watched Little Big Man, and that's a fairly obscure reference, not the Fifth Reaper.
I have the original.
Oh God, that was beautiful.
Actually, I have the original.
You gave me a digital copy of the original.
Yeah.
Oh Lord. You got to be careful there. The last guy that pointed out that wouldn't it be great if we were all just nice to each other, didn't wind up with a happy life.
Yeah, that's the fastest way to be hated and nailed to a tree, metaphorically or literally, is to tell everybody, hey, why don't we just be nice to each other and not let starving people starve when we have food. I mean, these are real complex ideas.
Oh man. What if Mr. Rogers was the second coming of Christ?
We got stoned and we missed it. Yes, Shel Silverstein will live in infamy forever. I love him.
I love that song.
Jim Stafford does an awesome version of it.
I gotta go with my Dr. Hook boys.
Oh, okay, yeah. Oh.
Wasn't it what Ghostbusters 2 that said you can't take away people's right to be assholes?
Unfortunately true, yes.
Yeah.
The amendments are ordinal for a reason.
I'm sorry this man has no, well, in the
I have
edited
that.
version, neck. Yeah.
I have that on my important. I have a playlist of important reference videos because on different programs I've been able to pull it up, and I have just the clip of "It's true, this man has no penis," and I've been trying to get that quasi legally acquired so that I can then bring it up when it's desperately needed. Because at times it's just desperately needed.
Yeah, I agree. There's so many good quotes that have to be made child friendly for YouTube.
Yes.
But you can get away with them in the green room.
That's why Discord has its place, even though I hate it with a passion. Because Discord hates me, and we have the standing. Dude, you annoy me too much. I will go stand by your servers. Don't mess with me. I will find your computer room, and I'll stand there, and they can record me, and I won't touch nothing. I'll just stand there and be annoyed. Should be enough.
In the event of World War III, Nick gets parachute dropped into Russia. He just stands in the middle of a field somewhere, and all of their electronics just go, I'm on vacation.
Droids falling from the sky.
Seriously, I do have one, like I was telling, and I lost it, Andrew. Just write it down. Just write down the concept and leave it. I get scenes. The way all my books start, the way everything starts is I'll just be minding my own business and I will walk it mentally into a scene of something. And it's 3-dimensional, it's tangible. I can Jarvis my way through it, spin it around, see it, rewind it, play it. But it's just this chunk. And it lives in my head until it decides to grow a story around it. Sometimes for decades, till I know where the scene goes.
Mm-hmm.
I have one based on the Nick field where it looks like, you know, the future from Terminator, where all the Terminators are marching across machine gunning stuff. And, you know, insert myself, insert Nick just walking, you know, I thought the apocalypse would be more interesting than this. And as he's walking, whenever they get near him, they just short out and fall down. So just like going to the mailbox, you know, guided munitions are exploding, you know.
Luke Skywalker rescuing Grogu in that one episode without even having to turn on the lightsaber. He just walks by. That's Nick.
Yeah, just you know, putting my bicycle back together because it is directly proportional to the complexity of the machine and the amount of time and proximity to me. I have found that waterproof cases like this do buy my phone some level of protection over time. And I'm wondering if that's just enough. I'm not even kidding with this. I'm stone deadly serious. My grandpa, Nick the First, could not have a pocket watch. And if he carried a pocket watch, he had to put it glass side down. Because if he put it backside down, he would magnetize all the parts. Because he was a welder. He was a blacksmith turned welder, and he did a bunch of the welding for the Liberty ships. It's what killed him. He got mesothelioma. I can't say that word, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, that word.
But he got that from the insulation on the ships while they were
asbestos. Yes,
but he literally carried such a charge that if he had a pocket watch or a wristwatch and the metal side touched him, it was dead for the entirety of his life afterwards. So I know it's a genetic thing.
Yeah, I've actually known several people like that. They would not even buy a wristwatch if it wasn't some cheap Timex, and they wouldn't take the plastic off the back of it because that was where it touched their skin.
Yep. And that's why, you know, I'm so funny. I don't even trust like folding knives anymore because I've had them it's like an entropy field. It's not just electronics. It's just the more potential chaos in it, the more likely it's to act up. So if cords will tangle around me, computers will short out, complex mathematical systems will give bizarre and impossible results. My earth sciences teacher in high school wanted to use me as a demonstration of resistance. And he said, hold on to this, and then we'll hold on to the multimeter, and we'll measure the electricity going through you. It's not going to hurt, but we'll measure it for resistance. And he got more out the other side than he put in. And he stopped and he went, well, that's not supposed to happen. Okay. No, there's something wrong. Switches the multimeter out. No, I'm still getting more out. No. He's just getting really, really angry. Starts thinking I've run a wire or something as some kind of complex prank. I really wish I would have thought of that. It's a great prank, but no. He got more energy out of me than he put into me, which shouldn't have been possible by normal means, but
Nick, we've always been able to get more energy out of you than we put into you.
Well, yeah, I mean that's kind of the gig, I think, but usually it's not.
You're an organic reactor, and the dampening rods have been pulled out and thrown away.
The amplification comment was discussed by the very interesting lady I used to associate with, who was very much a practitioner of assorted things and also designed circuit boards for submarines in Wales for a while. Very strange woman. Very that scary level of intelligent. You know what I'm saying? Where they start to get on that edge of.
You haven't met my wife yet, have you?
Only briefly. I've only had that brief pleasure.
Seriously, if you ever get to Hallowcon, sit down and have a conversation with her. You will be amazed at how much she outclasses me.
Oh my! That's if please take this as the compliment it's meant. That's utterly terrifying. People were talking. Would you be starstruck by celebrities? And like the vast majority of them, no. I don't know what I'd say to them because I enjoyed your performance, but they're not the character I know them as. So there's not a lot of actual interaction, but there are a few who literally scare the pants off of me. What's her name? I never say her name right, but God, I know her as Blossom, but
Mayim.
Yeah. If you ever see her in an interview outside of her playing different roles, well, she's got a doctorate or two. I think she's got like 2 doctorates and a master
neuroscience.
In neuroscience.
I gotta hop because baby needs a lot of attention, and frankly, I want to be with my wife for a couple of minutes.
No, go ahead. We totally understand.
Take care. I'll see you guys next week.
Bye.
All right. Bye-bye. Thank you for being here.
Always.
Thank you for being a friend. But I mean, like, between her and like actually Stephen Colbert, with how fast his mind works, I would be like intimidated to be around. I don't know if that makes sense. It's just
Not only was she an actor on Big Bang Theory, she was also one of their experts for neuroscience.
Yes,
Yeah.
That's how she got on. She was answering questions, and then they eventually brought her in because she's just an oddly charismatic lady. I don't know why they pulled her off of Jeopardy. I think that was a tragedy. But
historical reference. Look at Hedy Lamarr.
Oh my gosh, yes. There's somebody who was light years beyond, and then unnaturally beautiful. This is an odd question. Did she die at an early age, or did she live a long life? I'm just curious about this.
That I do not know.
The villain from Blazing Saddles?
Hang on.
No, the other one.
Oh no, that was Head Lee. Never mind. Sorry.
The one that could give Nikola Tesla a run for his money.
That
she was born in 1914 and died in the year 2000. So
that's a good run.
She was 85 years old.
See that breaks the pattern, because usually when someone, I hate to put it this way, but I have game theory. A lot of game theory is how I understand the world. Because I've been a DM so long, statistics work that way. But I kind of have noticed that most people, it's like everybody has the same general amounts of points when they're built like a character. And if somebody's really beautiful, they're usually not as intelligent or not as strong or not as healthy. You know what I'm saying? It's like the distribution is different. But when you find somebody who has everything, they're insanely intelligent, they're insanely beautiful, horribly talented. They usually don't live long. It's like the universe treats that as a statistical anomaly, and it doesn't like the outliers. And I've seen this a lot. And it's one of those why I wanted to ask that, because I'd like to see if that pattern is holding as true as it looks, or if it's just a sampling. Because if
some of the greatest minds in history are min-maxed.
Yes. No, literally. I mean, Stephen Hawking is like the ultimate obvious example of that. If you look, extremely, low physical traits, dramatically boosted intelligence.
Oh, what was that movie with Bruce Willis and Um, uh, oh, drat! My memory is failing me now.
It's okay. No rush.
Nick Fury. Um,
Samuel L. Jackson.
Samuel L. Jackson. Yes. It's one of those.
The only one I can think of is Die Hard. The third Die Hard movie.
Unbreakable and Glass.
Unbreakable and
There you
Glass.
go.
Yeah.
Yep.
And there is another one it's supposed to be a trilogy.
Yeah.
But I've
Split
never.
It's at the very, very end. You find out it's in the same universe.
Mm-hmm. Now that is one of those things
And the third
where
one ties them together. Yeah.
Mhm.
that's one of those things where Unbreakable. I watched it and I go, "Oh shit! If superheroes were real, this would be what it would be."
Mhm.
And supervillains were real, this would be what it would be.
And
This guy's basically Doctor Doom in a wheelchair.
Yeah.
Mr.
And
Glass.
if not Captain America, then Superman as a security guard, basically.
Mhm.
The bit where he's standing there at some stadium with a sports thing going on, and he can sense
Evil.
somebody down the line is packing heat
Mhm.
with bad intent.
Yeah.
I mean, whoa.
And see, my problem is, if we're being honest, that's not as far from reality as a lot of people would have it. Everybody's theoretically the hero of their own story, and I'll put that out there. However, I do believe that there are people who are essentially main characters of history, of the plot line, the overarching plot line, and if you encounter them, you can tell when they have the potential to be a main character. There's just the world arcs around them. It's hard to explain, but it's something I've had the pleasure of encountering a couple times.
There is something like that in history that has been featured in videos by a guy that speaks my language. He goes by the Fat Electrician.
I just discovered his channel like about a week ago.
And he's going, oh, this guy thought he was a main character, but he's just, baloney mist now. Because he made a mistake.
Yeah. Somebody encountered a 50 BMG. Okay.
Well, it's like, yeah, he wanted to be main character, but no, he's just so interesting.
He may have been right up to the moment he became baloney mist. I mean, he may have been a character.
Well, the thing is, he was up against the actual main character with plot armor.
Well, see, that's the point. He did his job for the plot. He showed up. He did whatever he was supposed to be. He became baloney mist, which that is entering my lexicon. I can feel it sinking into the little gray cells.
Well, that's his term, not mine. But
it doesn't matter.
It's very appropriate in certain situations. No,
only you can prevent baloney mist.
Friends don't let friends become baloney mist.
Bump, 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 bump. Baloney mist. Dun, 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 dun.
Don't do anything stupid, kids, or you might become baloney mist.
Oops, sorry.
Oh, go
Great,
ahead.
now that's going through my head.
You just had to summon the world's greatest earworm. And then he literally drops that on us and walks off screen. I'm like, don't you try that main character show.
Dun, 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 dun.
Oh,
Okay, now before we get sued by both Jim Henson and the Muppets, oh god. But no, I really think that there are people who are there. I believe history has a flow, and it really does, and it has main important a river of sequence of events, and it has these little tributaries that break off and go, but it will always default back to the main flow. You can divert certain things, but in the end, the story is going to go back where it's supposed to. And it's like it's a very complex pachinko machine. But if you can be aware of this, and you can find those points of intersection, you can do the right nudge at the right focal point. You can make a diversion that then causes things to go dramatically different. And life sometimes throws that at people in the form of the one bad day.
yeah, yeah.
And that's the way
I'm very familiar with that concept.
But while I believe the one bad day is, that's entropy. Entropy is our current, God, this sounds weird, level of manifestation still walks. Oh, how did he put it? That brilliant man. The time zero always points towards maximum entropy. I actually pulled that from one of my favorite novels of all time, The Philosophical Strangler. I want to say by Eric Flint. If you haven't read it, you need to. Richie
Nice
needs to
guy.
read about
Really nice guy.
Gray Boar. Oh God. One of my favorite authors of all time. But I also believe that the thing that differentiates good and evil is a frequency thing. It's almost a harmonic, where if you get in the right frequency, entropy slows down or stops. And if you get on the wrong line, it's like you're going up and down a radio dial. And when you get to the wrong line, you end up towards maximum entropy, where everything is constantly breaking. And what's funny is if you look at the concepts of heaven and hell and what makes them different, aside from the spiritual, the functional side of it is the rate of entropy. Because the theoretical concept of a heaven, if you pull out whoever the big guy, gal, he, she, they is a place where a soul does not corrupt or break down. Where you endure. Where when you look at most depictions of hell, everything is falling apart to the point it's falling apart atomically, so it's burning. So, this break in frequency seems to align with the way people act and the way morality works on a, I don't want to say metaphysical level, but it's one of those where if you look towards the intent and the outcome, because I do believe at the end of the day, intent still has value. I've never been comfortable with, the road to hell is paved with good intentions. Because if your intentions are genuinely good, eventually you're going to break out of failure. It's just that line of event. Or you're going to realize that you are in error. But it's one of these where I think about this. And I think about these things a lot. Just the ponderance of why do so many different religious systems and things, when you start going down to the effects and afterlife analysis and kind of thing. I mean, you look at all of them. You look at the major religions, the minor religions. You get this breakdown of if you do whatever they deem is right, you are preserved. If you don't, you are condemned. And if you're in the middle, you're usually set back around the wheel to see which way you're going to come off.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that's really weird, kind of deep thought, quasi-religious.
It's not weird at all. It's not weird at all. Although, speaking of Eric, if I remember correctly, we just lost him last year.
Oh, I was not aware of
that. His work is still there. It is going to be enjoyed for all time.
Right.
He's at the con suite at the bar.
Yep. I get exactly what you're pointing at. And I think looking at that pattern and thinking about the people like that and the stuff I've encountered and stuff I've met and folks I've met and of the more far out and fuzzy side, really weird stuff. I am not saddened personally by my the concept of my transition into whatever happens next. Even if it's Oblivion, I don't care on that front, because it's all about what kind of ripples you're putting out. If the work is more important than the worker, which is kind of how I look at it.
Mm-hmm. I was lucky enough to be in a writer's panel with him at one LibertyCon. I learned more about investing in a character and building them up in the reader's imagination, their mind, collective minds, and then strategically killing them off to make a dramatic point.
Absolutely.
And then what he did, he would have a set of characters. One of them would be killed off in this book. Another one would have just been started being built up in the reader's imagination. 2 books before, another one would be halfway along the process. So every 3 books with continuing characters, somebody got killed, somebody got uplifted, somebody got established. And it's a continuous process.
It's like lighting a whole bunch of bottle rockets.
Yeah.
Where you're going down the line lighting the bottle rockets, and by the time the first one is launching, a few are halfway through and you're lighting the next one. It makes perfect sense.
Yes. And that was it's going, he was trying to explain the way it actually works is to get the readers invested in this character where they care.
Right.
And then crush their dreams in the third book.
It's one of those where, see, the trick is he had the pacing that George R.R. Martin could never achieve.
Yeah. I haven't met George, but
well, just by what I've read of his works and the cultural osmosis, he's too quick with the kill. So frequent, the reader learns to not be attached. Whereas I have found in media, if I find myself attached to a character, they are the ones, like the one I either identify with or I'm find myself attached to. That's the one that's going to die every time. I used to joke that Joss Whedon, I live in fear, and I still slightly do, of Joss Whedon, because every single character he wrote that I identified with, almost all of them got impaled. And most of the time they died from it. And I made it through Firefly. And I was introduced to Firefly because my buddy Ben, who was built like Richie, if Richie had nearly made it as a Marine sniper before having an asthma attack, and was a goth. So take Richie, put a black palette over all his clothing, curl horns coming out of his ears, the whole thing. Except he was a bit bigger. He was 6'6", 6'8", and he was at somewhere around 600 pounds. And he would come. I was sitting on campus and I was reading. I was drawing. And he comes running up to me. Me, Hawaiian shirt, drawing anime chicks, vast quantities of caffeine, life is good. And he slams both his hands, which were wider than both my hands together, each one, on the table. He goes, I figured it out. Which I am very attentive. Because when a big guy moves that much, even if he's one of my best friends in the world, slams his hands on the table, says, I figured it out, and he puts his sausage of a finger right by my nose. And he says, you're not Wash. They think you're Wash, but you're Book. And I'm like, whatever you say, whatever needs to happen here, I will literally be whoever you need me to be in this moment to get you through. Would you like to sit down and smell toast? And he looks at me and goes, you haven't seen Firefly? And I go, no, I'm sorry, I haven't seen Firefly. He goes, no. Pulls out his backpack, goes, here's the spare copy I have. He literally carries out a spare copy of this TV series and shoves it to watch the series of Firefly. And I could see his point in this. And there were actually very interesting conversations. Then you get to the movie Serenity, and what does Josh do? That rat think no good, underhanded SOB? Well, how do you clean your spear? You run it through the wash.
I'm a leaf on the wind.
I'm a leaf on the wind. And he kills off Book 2. So he doubles down on me. I watched the Avengers movies. And I'm like, who's your favorite Avenger? Phil. Coulson's the shit. I love Coulson.
Yeah.
And what did Wheaton do? As soon as I decided, yes, that character makes sense to me. At least for the purpose of the movies. Dead. And how is he dead? Impaled. Do you know how many times Giles got stabbed nearly to death in Buffy? Are you aware of how? So, I don't trust Josh. I love him. I don't trust him. I'm going to watch Warehouse 13. Spoilers! My man Artie, within the first 3 episodes, 5 episodes, gets run through with a sword that's so sharp and cut time. I'm telling you, there's this thing about a certain class, a nice guy. I understand I'm a support character. I'm supposed to build folks up and then move on. If I step out of the line, I know I'm going to get Obi-Wan from the original Star Wars and bite it. So I want nothing to do with the actual limelight. Y'all can have it. I don't need praise. I don't need notice. I would like, if I do the job, I get paid. And then I want to skitter away, so I live. I have watched the fiction and learned.
But Nick, at least the you in Eureka becomes invulnerable, or not invulnerable, basically immortal, but ends up joining the consciousness stream of time.
So he bites it in a very Ascension style. You mean like Daniel Jackson did in Stargate? Yeah. What that is? That's stabbing them with evolution. Don't think I'm being fooled by this. I understand what the writers want to do. Yeah. Nick class characters bite it hard or they get leveled up, which has the same effect of them essentially biting it. They still get removed from the story. Michael got Shanks. I'm sorry. It happened.
Nick, have you ever watched the British TV series Blake 7?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I am.
Have you ever read my email address?
I don't think I have, actually. I don't think I've seen
Villa.
Oh, dang it. I'm going to get stabbed. I'm going to get stabbed. So, y'all, why did you take offense? Because it's stab defense art. Why do you... I never do anything for just one reason, y'all. Why do I have a book on spears? Know your enemy. I may die of blunt force trauma, but none of this sharp force trauma. Somebody used the phrase sharp force trauma on subs like CSI. I'm like, it's the enemy right there.
At least I managed to keep from being thrown in a black hole to save some asshole's life.
You only think you're safe.
Oh,
You're
yes.
the one who teaches all the good guys the sword fighting in the bedtime story. So you're already in the limelight. You're screwed. You're dead.
Nah.
I have never seen the series of Game of Thrones. I've only seen snippets.
I've seen the first season.
But it was set. Clips were sent to me, and it was the same set of clips over and over and over again. I got them from about 12 people the first day of Sergio whatever, the water sword master. And they're like,
dancing instructor.
Uh-huh. We're going to find you. And I'm like, okay.
Don't come looking again.
I know where this is going to go. I'm like, man, they killed him off screen. Off screen? They didn't just impale him. They impaled him off screen. Dang it.
They impaled him a lot off screen.
Yes. It was too R-rated a multiple penetration for freaking HBO.
I got good news for you. The character that I think of you as in the show The Untamed, he doesn't get stabbed, he doesn't die. So there you go.
And really, in the bedtime story in the end credits, nobody says you're actually there at the battle. You just taught them all the shit they know. You're off safe in your own little universe.
He thinks
Sensei does not get stabbed.
Oh. Well, see, and that's the trick. I've learned it as long
until
as
the sequel.
As long as I'm writing the sequel, Nick's safe.
By the way, I
felt that. Fuck you, Nick.
What?
I said I felt that. Fuck you, Nick.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm sorry. I got some stuff stuck in my eye there, Rick.
Yeah.
Let me just pop my wrist. No. But Mass Swivel Production. Yeah, no, I know. I really do believe the character type theory exists. I really believe that there are archetypes that we get kind of pulled into. Mercedes Lackey has a series of books. I want to say it's the 500 Kingdoms or something. And it's the one where she talks about the fairy godmother. And in it, the story is a tangible form of magic that is always pulling at you.
Oh, yeah.
Become a specific archetype.
Didn't Andrew Norton do some of that too?
that does sound like something. Wait, I can't remember if that came up in the Gall. They were all
it
the
sounds so much
misadventure.
like something she would just off a diving board headlong into.
It really does. And the problem is, I read so many Bane books, but when I was kind of poor. So if I said a lot of the books I read at certain point in my life didn't have covers because they were easier to acquire that way.
I'm not going to judge.
So I didn't know the author.
You didn't know,
right? I would have given them money if I had money, but it's that. Well, let's just say there are reasons why I don't get too mad when I find out that yes, the Russians have pirated the Simple Sword, and it's doing very well for them in like Afghanistan. And I'm not even being facetious. They found the sword on the Russian bootleg site. It's like, are you going to sue them? No. Because you know what? I wrote that book to get it into people's hands. And as much as I'd like the money for it, I'm not going to be mad. I have gained at points from my life through interesting means of systems that I will neither confirm or deny because I'm being broadcast and recorded. But it's only, equivalent exchange that, I have to give back to the system once in a while. That's kind of part of why a certain folder about my favorite holiday I made up, Leafy Moss, has certain entries in it,
Mm-hmm.
But
one of the things I've really enjoyed about Under Norton, you think it's a simple adventure story. It might be sci-fi, it might be pirates, it might be a western. You think it's a simple adventure. You get deep enough into it, you find out, fuck, this was a romance the entire time.
Mm-hmm.
3 fucking books, and then I find out in the last 2 pages.
Yeah. Why not? I love that. I absolutely.
Yeah.
You have no idea how much I happen to love that particular set of tropes.
And the worst part of it is, you can go back and reread it again once you know, and you see the foreshadowing that you never noticed before.
Well, that's exactly why I love J. Michael Straczynski. Yes, well, of all the speech impediments, I could say that, but all the things I stutter, that tells you, because there's nothing happens that was not foreshadowed. Everything that was will be, and everything that will be was. It's sort of like the redo of Battlestar Galactica, and once all around the Watchtower. It's just that cycle.
Gotta be some way out of here.
I think we just keep getting, like I said, I keep thinking we keep getting on the wheel till we decide one way or another, which way we're going to get off. I think that happens in life. I think life is it's a spiral journey, and you keep running through the same gates till you beat them enough, till you realize what you're doing.
You're mastering the level until you can get to the next one.
Yep, and it's the dangest thing, because it's like you're going to learn humility, but then you're going to forget, and you're going to learn humility again till it sticks. You're going to learn, put in a position where you have to be brave until you're brave. And the universe is trying to teach us stuff. And the whole system seems to be built to do that. I'm not sure why. It's patterns I recognize.
At one time, I thought the pattern that I was refusing to recognize is that, you know, you really shouldn't chase women. It always ends badly.
Mm-hmm.
The lesson actually was chase the right one.
That's.
Yep.
I was done. I
Yeah.
walked into college with the attitude, I'm done. I had, there's heartbreak, and then there's like destroy your personality level of heartbreak. And I came out of that, and the stuff I lived through high school, I hit college with. I knew where I was going because it had been preordained. My college was paid for largely by my dad's blood money because he's a disabled vet from Vietnam, so he had a lot to say about where I went to college,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't regret it. But got into that, and I had some relationship stuff that completely imploded. But I'm like, I'll give it one more shot. So I done. I'm not looking for anything. I'm not chasing anything. I'm going to do my thing. And, worst come to worst, I'll wait till robots get good enough. Because I'm a sci-fi fan. But as soon as that had fully established in my personality and fully comfortably crystallized I was done, I walked into that cafeteria and I saw my wife, and that gong went off, and I went, well, shit.
And then I saw her face.
And I am a believer, but
Yep. Okay, folks, we got like 4 minutes left. Anybody want to drop links to what you're working on, or promote your shows and stuff like that? Not to derail the conversation, but if we don't derail the conversation, we'll be here all fucking night, and I'll go to sleep.
And Uncle Carl will complain.
I know Joe Dog will complain too, because John will wake him up. Go shut off the end show. All we can see is the top of his head.
Everybody's gone.
Need to get y'all some little shocker chairs, like a William Castle had rigged, where we can go into an emergency number and go, oh, Dad's asleep. Oh, now he's not.
Hey, I might like that.
Hey, if
And
you wake
stay
up
asleep.
He may pretend to be asleep, so you do it.
Oh.
Hey, you know what? Everybody's got a boat. It's got to float somehow. You know what I mean? I am long past, any snobbery on that. As long as everything is consensual and no one is hurt to excess. Everyone's consenting. It's no hurt to excess. How would I judge?
Nothing succeeds like excess.
There is no kill like overkill. Yes, I'm among my people.
Yes.
We've already had the Aphelion link posted. Y'all know who I am. Anybody that doesn't, Google me. You'll find out.
How did you make that so incredibly? That was delightful. Oh, God.
Terrifying and intriguing at the same time.
Hey, it's the voice. It's the voice. I'm not the master of it. It's the master of me.
Turning a noun to a verb usually has interesting effects. But dang it.
Aunt Donna's got lots of really good books out there. Nick Tuckert has lots of really good books out there. Thesis knows everything there fucking is to know about swords. Richie is an absolute master of satire. And
he should have a book coming out this year. Right, Rich?
At least one.
At least one.
At least one.
Yep. We just need to get a cover on it. Right?
If you like it, put a cover on it. If you like it, put a cover on it.
God damn it, Nick! Get out of my head. That's exactly where my brain's going.
Set it up.
Same,
Hit
same
it in the
here.
home field.
Settle up, boys. We're ready for our last little cover here. Just gotta say goodbye to Miss Kitty there at the Last Chance Saloon.
Not everybody.
Oh, good night, folks, and thank you very much for being here, and I do appreciate it. And thank everybody that ever watches this. I do appreciate that too. And we are going to, if I can click on the right button, there we go. Finally, go good, guys.
Transmission overload. System will shut down. System will shut down. System will shut down.